Scam warnings. You see them almost every day with scammers using phone calls, emails, and social media to do whatever they can to take your personal information and your money. Last year alone, the state's DOJ office received nearly 25,000 consumer complaints, many related to scams. Attorney General Josh Stein joins us today, and we will be breaking down the top scams in our state and, of course, answering your questions. And you can text them in to us right now. The number is on your screen, 336-379-5775. Well, good evening, General. Let's start with the top scams of 2022. Telemarketing and robocalls were one of the top issues. So talk about some of those complaints your office investigated.
Yeah, it almost always is. People are absolutely fed up with robocalls. They're a source of annoyance, certainly for most of us, but the reason why the calls exist and why they're so problematic is they are a source of fraud, particularly on vulnerable people who can get tricked, intimidated into disclosing either personal information or financial information, which is used to their detriment. So we got thousands of complaints about robocalls. And I recognize this is a major issue. So I've made it a priority, and I've put together a coalition of every attorney general in the United States, state attorney general, 50 of 51, including the district, Democratic and Republican alike, go after the robocallers. And what we have discovered in recent years is that most of these robocallers are abroad. They're not in the United States. They're making these calls, originating these calls from off our shores. But the only way they can get to your phone or your phone is if some local phone company, usually a small little company, accepts their traffic through the system and acts as a gateway. That's why they're called gateway providers. So we are now investigating, my AG colleagues and I, the 20 largest gateway providers who are responsible for the majority of these illegal calls. And I've taken one of them to court already, Articulate. It was a path-breaking lawsuit, and we're going to do everything in our power to keep people safe from these criminals.
Absolutely. Well, landlord-tenant scams were the number 5 issue. So what kind of complaints do you get, and what resources are out there for renters?
All manner of issues that affect renters. Things about that the upkeep of the property is not appropriate, or that the landlord engaged in an eviction that was not lawful. And we have resources that can advise the tenant on how to deal with it when they have to go to court. But what we try to do is intervene with the landlord and resolve the dispute. And so this is true whether it's a landlord-tenant issue or, frankly, any issue where you're a consumer and you're having a frustrating experience with someone selling you either a good or a service or something. Call my office, because we are here to help you, and we have a toll-free number, 877-5-NO-SCAM, 877-5-SCAM, and we have an online complaint form where people can let us know about their frustrations at ncdoj.gov/complaint. NCDOJ, North Carolina Department of Justice, .gov/complaint.
And elder fraud is something we hear warnings about often. So what kind of scams against the elderly did you see, or did we see in our state?
There are so many. Unfortunately, there's no end to the creativity of the scam steal from vulnerable people. One thing that we encountered is something called the grandparent scam, where someone will call the grandparent and say, "Hey, grandma, it's Jimmy," because they will have done a little research online and learn the name of the grandchild and misrepresent who they are and say, "Grandma, I'm in trouble. I'm at the police department. Don't tell mom and dad. Please just send me $100 or $500 and it will get me out." And usually they will ask for the money to be sent in the form of gift cards or Bitcoin. And that is just a huge red flag. Because if anyone ever asks you to pay for them with a gift card, it is almost 100% a criminal who's on the other end of the phone or the email.
And it's also the time of the year when we can also see those winter weather scams. So what should people be watching out for when it comes to those?
It's very similar to the one I just described about the grandchild scam, where it's always somebody on the other end of the phone misrepresenting who they are. but they're trying to create fear in you, because when we're afraid or we're excited, affects every person, old or young. We lose the rational part of our brain. It recedes. And so we don't make good decisions. And what they try to do is make you afraid. And we will hear, hey, this is so-and-so from Duke Energy or whoever your utility is, saying that you have not paid your bill. If you do not pay us immediately, we're going to turn off the power. Or it could be your water service, or it could be anything that makes you afraid, so that people are like, oh my God, I've got to pay this bill right away, and then I can dispute it later. But it's not your phone, it's not your utility. It's a criminal pretending to be your utility. So if you get a call like that that's confusing or you're uncertain, do not respond, because your power company is not going to call you and ask you for payment. Call them directly, go online, find out their phone number, call them directly, and they will certainly assure you that it's a scam. And again, if you have any question, whether it's your utility or your grandchild or somebody saying you won $1 million through a lottery, if you have any question, don't act. Just take a break, take a step back, call my toll-free number and ask us, because the people who work in my office have seen every scam in the book. 877-5-NO-SCAM.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your responses. We are now going to head to break. And of course, stick with us. We want to take all of your questions that we will have so that he can answer for you. We'll be right back.